it honed my skills and allowed me to be a better leader than I am today. So I've learned things like resilience very early on. I learned things like good work ethic and how to show up for clients and for your employer. So I think those early foundations actually allowed me to be the person that I am today. And again, what does excellence look like? Excellence look like having a workforce that will service the customer with empathy, with speed, with simplifications. You will know that we live in a world whereby digitalization is a hype, everybody's talking about it, but that human impact, human factor into digitalization, I think still plays such a critical role. Governance, compliance, and risk should not be barriers to excellence, should not be barriers to sustainability, but they should augment each other. Multiple type of skills. So obviously data literacy remains one of the key skills that you need to understand, irrespective of where you are serving within an organization. You need to be aware of the data. You need to be aware of the data that actually will enable you to become a better employee, right? But also, you need to also make sure that in different areas, you understand how you can actually be efficient. How can you adopt innovative ways that makes your life easier and enables you to meet your performance expectations. So you can't just be comfortable to say, okay, because I'm performing this task and as a human being, there is no other ways of doing it. So we need to see people that are evolving, people that are curious, people who want to know what's better out there, what has been implemented. So and again, I mean, you made a reference to South Africa. Yes, we are very innovative, but there's still an opportunity for us to even be better. I mean, you look at countries like Singapore, even India, and I think I know you guys are doing amazing work when it comes to IT. So you're very international. A lot of countries are very competitive. They want to be the first to learn something. So we need that kind of hybrid skills and that growth mindset, because if you don't evolve, you are not going to be sustainable as an organization. If you don't evolve as a human being, the chances are you will be replaced by people who have learning agility and people who are embracing change and new things.
So that's where it is like saying when your background is like consulting, treasury, risk, operations, etc. So what were like the defining turning points or moments that shaped up to your journey into the senior leadership? Like,
yeah, I think for me to have started my career journey in a multinational consulting company provided me with a good understanding of the expectation from the employer to the clients and customers. So it honed my skills and allowed me to be a better leader than I am today. So I've learned things like resilience very early on. I learned things like good work ethic and how to show up for clients and for your employer. So I think those early foundations actually allowed me to be the person that I am today and to take my work very seriously in order for the employer to win and also for the client to win, right? Because in consulting is about most of the time solving a problem or coming up with a good idea that can be implemented at scale. And consulting, as you will know, it's actually an area in most cases where companies spend most of their money, valued assets, and yeah. So I learned to be prepared every time I am needed to show up and take accountable steps and ensure accountability in my deliverables.
and that's really great. And maybe like the kind of the exposure and then the companies you have worked, I mean, definitely that also contributed in getting into that kind of like thought leadership and reaching out to this position. So
Yeah.
looking back at your career, I mean, which experience or has influenced you more as a leader? I mean, those kind of like the experience or like the previous aspiration that has really helped you becoming a leader or reaching it to this level.
Yeah, so I think Prasad, for me is first of all, when I started in consulting, I moved from consulting into an investment banking space, and I already was able to handle complex environments, and I was able to deliver at high standards that is expected of an employee. So I've always gotten into an environment whereby I get challenged, and that kind of challenge led me to come up or to be more of a growth mindset individual. So for me, it has always been to be thrown at the deep end, if I can put it that way, and be able to swim or find my way up. And so it also assisted me with my confidence, because every time I get a challenge and I realize that I can actually manage, and I can actually be able to perform at high standard, it allowed me or given me a chance to actually take on more challenges. And as a
Mhm.
result, that allowed my growth to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's nice to hear. I mean, like you love taking the challenges, and then like once you solve one puzzle, the another comes up, and the life is always like a learning.
Absolutely.
Life is always
Yeah,
a learning. I mean, and that adaptability must be there because in one of the other interview I talked about it. Like I love that Darwin statement. Like species that survives are not the most intelligent or powerful one, but the one that survives adaptable to the change. So, I mean the whether it is a company or nature will keep throwing you like the new challenges, but how you
absolutely.
tackle, how you solve, and how you get rid of it, overcome those challenges. And I mean that's great to hear. I mean that uh, so how has like your definition of the success evolved as you moved from the specialist role to the like the enterprise leadership, like and then given the cross functional exposure you have in various disciplines, I mean that helps you strengthening your ability and helps you in like this enterprise leadership. Okay.
Yeah. So I think as a young analyst, success for me was able to achieve milestones. So it was very individualized type of a journey, right? And as I evolved, I shifted or evolved from success not being only about me, but being about adding value to the organization that employed me. Was also about adding value to the customers that I'm having or I was saving, and also the ability to be impactful. When you look at us women, especially, there is still a low number of women in leadership, especially a position of power or decision making positions. So success was for me to be that kind of a leader that a young lady somewhere in the world or somebody who's looking into me can say it's possible for me to be like Dr. Pulane Modiha one day. If she can achieve so much, so everyone else can achieve it. So I moved success from being an individual milestone ticking to impact driven type of impact.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, it's like your inner passion and the things like has helped you in reaching out to this. So as a
Yes.
COO of like the firm and structured lending, how do you define like the operational excellence in today's banking environment? Like,
I mean, I think for me, it's the ability to bring people on board in order to achieve what organization set out to achieve, right? So oftentimes we talk about strategy, but what does it mean fundamentally? So strategy is good on paper, right? But if you don't have a workforce that can enable the strategy and execute with excellence, and again, what does excellence look like? Excellence look like having a workforce that will service the customer with empathy, with speed, with simplification. So I think for me, those are core. And you will know that we live in a world whereby digitalization is a hype, everybody's talking about it. But that human impact, human factor into digitalization, I think still plays such a critical role in the world that we live in today. So if you are able to get your customers to be comfortable in adopting digital transformation, it is a big win. If you can get your employees to be comfortable to start innovation or digitalization journey without thinking about what's going to happen to their employment, to their jobs. And also, if you can get your stakeholders to buy into getting infrastructure that is robust, IT infrastructure that is scalable, that is forward thinking or looking, and then you will be able to achieve the excellence that we often talk about.
Yeah, well, I think you made a very valid point. So, like, strategy or plan remains plan unless it comes into action. So, unless and until like
Absolutely.
strategy is execution, it is of no use. Like, I mean, that's a very valid point. So, what are like the core leadership principle you would really guide when you are managing the large team and then high performance teams? Like, what would you recommend? Like, or
I will
guide?
always say, yeah, so I will always say that I've been very fortunate that
Very.
I spent most of my time in banking. And banking is based on trust. I think you and I will agree that when you take your money and you put it in the bank, you do believe that the bank will do good with your money, right? So similarly, when it comes to people, you are not managing machines here. You are managing human beings.
Human
So
being.
that kind of trust, it goes a long way. Trust coupled with support. So if people trust that the strategies that you're coming up with, the direction that you're setting up for the company or for the bank, it's taking us forward, it's going to ensure sustainability, then you have won the battle. Because I do believe that where the trust thrive, by default, people will high likely buy into what you are setting out as a direction or a path, a good path.
Mm.
They will trust you that what you are coming up with, especially new innovation, right? It is something that is going to benefit them. It's going to benefit their clients or our customers, as we normally refer to in the banking world, and the shareholders, of course. So I do believe that trust and support should go hand in hand.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I think that's where it is. And then with the empowerment, so like that is how like you will get that trust and then support. I mean, I think it's a very valid point. So, I mean, the next is like, how do you foster that culture where the performance, innovation, governance, and the people coexist effectively. One is like the side of like the regulatory, the performance, governance, and then the people. I mean, you already like in previous answer you talk about all those empathy and then empowerment, etc. But again, striking that balance between these two. So how do you
Yes.
manage this circus effectively?
Yeah, look, we are highly regulated in the industry that I'm in, and I do believe for the right reasons, right? So if you make sure that risk, compliance, and regulation they intertwine with innovation, you are halfway full. So I don't believe that innovation should take away the risk factor or the compliance factor. However, I do think that when it comes to governance, we need to think differently. You know, in the olden day, governance looked like more ticking a box type of situation. But I do believe that there is an opportunity for governance to structures and measures to be given a facelift through innovation. So the way we do things needs to transform holistically, right? So governance, compliance, and risk should not be barriers to excellence, should not be barriers to sustainability, but they should augment each other.
Absolutely, because like just because of the innovation, you should not compromise on the governance because both has like
Absolutely.
exactly, like value, but it cannot be compromised like at any cost.
And we
I
talk
mean,
about ethics as an example, right? So we talk about innovations now, and we talk about, as an example, chat box. And even though we are excited about those kind of innovation, self-service rails, but what does it mean from the ethical standpoint of view? We can't just implement and execute on this without necessarily thinking about ethics thereof. So I think for me, it is also very important that there's a convergence between the two.
yeah, true. So when your role is like a highly demanding role, and when what kind of like the habits or the routine that help you maintain the clarity, effectiveness, and then these days talked about like the work-life balances, the pressures thanks to COVID, all those things I mean work from home and then combination of like the in-person and that is happening. So it is just going beyond those limited restricted hours. So how do you maintain that kind of way? So I mean balance and then having the clarity and the effectiveness, because like at time it becomes very challenging when I try to just think myself. At time it becomes difficult for me.
I wish there was a balance. I don't think there's a balance, right? So I do think there's an integration somewhere. But I do believe that when it comes to well-being, you need to be intentional to take care of yourself. You need to be like you can't compromise it, compromise your well-being. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's like having a car and not maintaining a car and thinking that it will still perform optimally. So for me, what that looks like, first of all, it means every morning I have to go to the gym. So I'm a morning person, so I hit the gym before anything else to restart my day or to recharge my batteries. And also, I practice a lot of gratitude. I mean, you spoke about the environments that we live in being highly pressurized. Absolutely. And oftentimes when the pressure comes, you may think that you are not enough. You may think that you're not doing enough. So I reflect a lot. So I practice gratitude. And the more I sit back and I take a step back and I reflect on the wins and the I don't want to say the failures, but I'll call it the maybe the weaknesses or the gaps, then it keeps me back to the right path, right? Because I'll then be kind to myself and recognize that effort has been put forward. I'll be kind to the team that I lead, knowing that sometimes they did not achieve what is set out to be achieved, not because of lack of effort, but because of maybe, as you said, priorities and everything that is happening around it. So for me, mindfulness is very important. Reflections at the end of the day or in the mornings, and exercise. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle for me. It's like eating every day, right? You don't say you're gonna skip eating other than, of course, if you're fasting. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the normal day. So I refill my mind, I refill my body, I refuel in any way possible, because otherwise if I'm not mentally strong and I'm not physically strong, then I will not be able to think critically and I'll not be able to show up for the people that I am serving.
Absolutely. I think leading from the front, I mean, you're setting that example that one has to be mentally and physically strong, and that kind of the discipline, as you said, the way like a human, you need to eat. So similarly, body to get the strength need like that exercise, and then the fit body will have like that kind of like the mental plus physical ability to really survive in such stressful situation. I think it's a very valid point. And then, guidance to like people like me who don't try to, you just think, but don't get into the action. So I think it's important like to learn this kind of discipline. So it's not just about,
Yeah.
eating, but then to have that mental strength and physical strength, one must exercise. Good point. Yeah. So having led like the technology enabled transformation initiatives, you would have done it a number of times. What excites you most about the future of the digital lending and the banking operation? Because nowadays it's talked about like the AI, agentic AI, etc. So how do you see that paradigm shift?
You know what excites me the most? I'm gonna be very, very honest with you, because for people like me who don't have a lot of time, and I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this, that in a 24 hours, there's so much that's happening. So automation enables you to actually do a lot yourself. And I'm going to give you a very basic example, right? So in banking, back then, banking used to be, I mean, the face of banking was branches, right? If you want to do any banking, it meant that you had to drive to the branch, get into a queue, get someone to assist you, and then eventually, I mean, think about the time, think about even the money, because getting there for some people, it will mean that you need to take a car. I mean, drive a car or take some means of as transportation. And with innovation and automation, especially, we are now seeing a lot of self-service. What I mean by that is, at the comfort of my house, as I speak to you or after speaking to you now, I can get into my app and I can do my banking there in 2 seconds. So that I think you guys call it hyper automation because it entails almost everything: automation, chatbots, and ability to get help at the palm of your hand. It's so critical for me. So that's actually what is exciting me the most, the ability to self-service. But then the second part to it is, yo, Prasad, I do not like routine. I don't like to do admin, as an example. So you see that those kind of routine type of tasks, they can easily be automated, or they could be handled by a robot. You know what I mean? So I think it frees up time for critical thinking. And if you are in a customer servicing environment like I am, so you actually have an ability now to think about your customers clearly without necessarily worrying about the admin behind the processes or the tasks that you need to take on. So yeah, so I'm very excited about efficiencies that come about with automation.
Yeah, I mean, I think you talked about like you 2 points. Like one is like it elevate the customer satisfaction. It saves the time. So earlier you'll have to like visit a branch to get the work done. Now you just open the app and then get the things like I mean earlier you need to order the checkbook, fill up a slip and then go there. Now you just go to the app and then wait. So now no longer there is a need of like the checkbook at all. But like there
Yeah,
are other things like the card on off. So I still remember like South Africa was like the first country somewhere like because I worked with like the payments company. I was with a previous company where like I mean South Africa, the mobile banking, MTN banking, and those like they were very famous. I mean, you were like the trendsetter that part. So learning out of that experience or banking the unbank was like initiated there and now like big time replicated in India and other part of the world. But that is where like you had like I mean first point of the entry for this kind of the offering or the solutions. So it really made a difference. And now look at that, the mobile banking, the way it is gone, is spread like anything, which is
yeah,
really helping, as you said rightly. And with the help of like this, the automation and agentic, it is really improving customer experience and then the faster thing. And then you talked about like the mundane or boring or repetitive task which employees do not want to do. So that really saves their time and then improve the efficiency. Very good point. So again, like same question on the like so apart from like what couple of things like you talked about it, but what are like the any specific or biggest opportunity being a leader, what you would like to implement using now this agentic or intelligent document AI technology or chatbot to improve the efficiency customer experience in lending or like the other areas with specific thing which you think could be solved, but at this moment it is not done?
Yeah, so I think, and again, I'm not referring to my employer per se. I'm just sharing with you what I'm seeing out there. So we find that we adopt a piecemeal type of automation, right? Where for example, in banking, banks, it's big. Banking is big. We start off with probably trying to know you as a customer. We ask you for documentation, and then later on you come and you ask for, say, lending. Let's say you ask for money to buy a car or a house, or a credit card. And then now we have to credit assess you. And so it is, so you find that at this stage, that kind of automation happens in pockets. So what I would love to see one day is a scaled end-to-end automation, right? At the click of the button, the bank can know who I am. They can offer me the product that speaks to my needs. They can credit assess me. They can tell me what I qualify for. And then without necessarily even putting in a lot of documentation and paperwork. So if they can simplify that automated, simplified processes that make my life easy or add value into my world, then I would think that we have won. Our agentic AI is where it can actually assist in ensuring end-to-end workflow automation, and not this piecemeal type of automation that I'm seeing. But again, Prasad, I'm not criticizing what I'm seeing per se. I'm just saying that we're not there yet, and probably for us to get there, there's a huge need for us to invest in infrastructure. So most of the banks, especially big banks, they still have legacy infrastructure that needs to be modernized. So I would like to think that eventually we will get to that desired state, but it does take effort and a large investment for us to be able to see what I've just painted, or the picture that I've just painted with you now. But yeah, that's where the world is going, I would like to think.
Yeah. No, no, it's a very valid point, because end of the day, there are like the legacy systems, like I mean, and one cannot say like just throw this out and this is good for nothing. But striking that balance, like saying still try to consume the legacy system, and with the latest technology, how do you bridge that gap, or how do you complement them without throwing them out or without discarding them? And that is what,
Yeah.
like, it's a really valid point, because otherwise it becomes a challenging decision for any CXO or the leadership of any bank or any customer to discard the legacy system. But again, with something complementing technology, use of the agentic AI, decision making, and giving that personalized things there, and that's a very good point, because you have covered already. Like, I was about to ask the next question, where so you have already covered that. So for the banks who are looking to evolve traditional intelligent automation, so AI driven like operating models, what would be like the first strategic step for them?
Yeah, so I think in most cases, when we talk of automation, we think that people should be laid off. So I think for me, it will be very important for us to reshape how bank evolves, right? So the more we innovate, we should enable more value creation, right? And that's why I'm saying that in the fourth industrial revolution, yes, we did see a lot of human human being impacted. But we talk about fifth industrial revolution, whereby they say that human and machines are going to dance together. So I do believe that we will still see an increased need of human interaction while we automate, because innovation and automation should allow us to actually unlock more value, as I said, and have, if you are in banking, have more customers, and those customers will still need human being to touch on them. So I do believe in intelligent innovation, not innovation with short-sighted view. So I think if we think long-term, if we think sustainability, and also if we think impact, whatever strategies that we are going to come up with, they need to be very forward-looking, and they should also assist, countries like South Africa to deal with high unemployment rate. We have a lot of youth that go to universities with a view of coming to use their skills, and especially IT skills, right? So if we're not intentional as leadership to come up with strategies that will ensure that those skills are used for economic upliftment, then it means that our views are very short-sighted. So I am excited, and I do think that leadership that is forward-looking will be the ones that will thrive in the future, and the leadership that only solve for today will probably not thrive in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, I think you made two valid points. Like one is like human need to upgrade themselves, because like when computer came, everyone thought threatened, like saying we'll lose the job. But now we need like people to handle the computer, because it cannot like and autonomously work. So you will still require a human. So it will really upgrade human to the next level work, because like what are the mundane or repetitive or all those tasks, like will be handled by the technology, or like those insights about the customer, about their pattern, to give like the more personalized things which will come out of the technology. I mean, that's a very valid point you talk about it. And another thing is, like you say, it's not like the race of like the human versus the technology, or human versus the agentic AI or bot. It is human with them. So you need to
Yes,
go hand
together
in hand.
to
That's what
create
I like
value.
that point. So like they need to go. It is not a race of the human versus technology, but it is human with technology. You need to work hand in hand. So together, when that's like I really like that point. So it's a good point which you have really highlighted here. So considering like our last, I mean, the next 3, 5 years, how will you AI-driven decision making reshape the operating model or workforce skills leadership expectation in banking? What's your view about that? I mean, what do you see?
Yeah. So I think for me, like I said, that it should not be focused around automating to replace a human factor, but what is important, we are going to see what I call hybrid skills, right? So humans should have multiple type of skills. So obviously data literacy remains one of the key skills that you need to understand, irrespective of where you are serving within an organization. You need to be aware of the data. You need to be aware of the data that actually will enable you to become a better employee, right? But also you need to also make sure that in different areas you understand how you can actually be efficient. How can you adopt um, innovative ways that makes your life easier
Yeah.
and enables you to meet your performance expectations. So you can't just be comfortable to say, okay, because I'm performing this task and as a human being, there is no other ways of doing it. So we need to see people that are evolving, people that are curious, people who want to know what's better out there, what has been implemented. So and again, I mean, you made a reference to South Africa. Yes, we are very innovative, but there's still an opportunity for us to even be better. I mean, you look at countries like Singapore, even India, and I think I know you guys are doing amazing work when it comes to IT. So you're very international. A lot of countries are very competitive. They want to be the first to learn something. So we need that kind of hybrid skills and that growth mindset, because if you don't evolve, you are not going to be sustainable as an organization. If you don't evolve as a human being, the chances are you will be replaced by people who have learning agility and people who are embracing change and new things. So in the next 3 to 5 years, it won't be a negotiated discussion to say, go find out what's happening out there, be curious, understand your environment, understand how you can improve your environment. It will be a must-have. It will be a skill that employers will be looking for, people who can actually be able to think outside of the box. Because Prasad, I mean, even during COVID, you and I can agree that there was a lot of ambiguity. We did not know what's happening, but those leaders who were courageous to say, you know what, I may not have the answer, but I think if we adopt a certain a method, it might work. So you are going to need leaders that are courageous, that are willing to take chances. And yes, if you fail, you pivot, right? But you can't be a kind of a leader who's comfortable with the known. So you need to be comfortable also with the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, I think quite valid point. So, like as you said, like the evolution is a, I mean, continuous process. It never stops. Like yeah, because if you do not evolve, you are out of the race. So,
Yeah.
considering that evolution and that mindset, to successfully drive the large scale digital and then AI transformation for an organization. So when considering that evolution mindset and so what would you recommend, or what kind of like the pointers you can highlight here about that mindset to really drive that kind of AI transformation across the organization?
Yeah. So I think leaders must continuously learn. So, oftentimes you find people that you apply for a job and they say they need somebody with 20 years of experience. We need to be aware that maybe 20 years of experience that you have might not what is going to take us forward into the future. And yes, it might be foundational, but you need to think differently. If you need to pivot. Don't be stuck up. Don't be, I don't want to say married to the traditional way of doing things, but I do believe in transformational leadership. Have that transformational mindset. First, it starts with you. And then obviously it's more adding value to the organization that you are in. And then now it has a ripple impact into the people that you lead. So I think leaders should start being leaders and role models, and we need to empower ourselves so that we can empower others.
Yeah, that's good. So coming to now your personal achievement or recognition. So you have received like the major recognition, including in 2025 Mail and Guardian Power of Women Award. What does this like the milestone represent in your journey?
Yeah, thank you so much for that, bringing that up. So I come from very humble beginnings, right? Where a lot of women were not as successful as what we see today. And I think these recognitions, for me personally, they don't really represent trophies that I can be proud of, but they represent visibility, right? So I think for me, they say that you are doing something and we see it and continue doing it. So they represent responsibility as well, to say continue inspiring others because you're on the right track. So I often get very humbled when people see you in a certain way. And most importantly, when they see you exactly and recognize you for the work that you actually want to be purposeful or impactful on. So I think for me, it's really a beautiful recognition of the woman that I am and the person that I am. And yeah, so I don't, like I said, I don't see them as big trophies, but it's more extension of exactly what I want to see. Impact, role modeling, the ability for somebody to say that it's possible because we have more women who are doing this. I mean, I think until we get to a place whereby there's equality, especially in leadership, um, we will not place much emphasis on probably this kind of recognition. But for now, we're not there yet. So yeah, if I can inspire someone through my work, and yeah, role model. Yeah, so I think
Yeah. I mean, you have
I'll
set the trend, and I think, and still humble. So I mean, that is, I mean, so nice about you. So I mean, I am. The next question is like, can visible recognition of the women leadership help inspire, like, in next generation of the professional entering into the banking and finance or any other industry? Because that's what exactly. Because you becoming a role model, you would encourage and expect like more women to really get into these things. And then you talked about like the equality. I mean, it's high time that when even the woman side of it, like they receive amount of the awards.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. It does inspire others because I think even myself, I mean, growing up, I really never saw a CEO who is a woman, for most part of my career, and position of power were mostly occupied by men, and you find that women will only be in a support areas of HR as an example, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm seeing now, I'm actually seeing women in positions that are not HR, that are not support only, that are not only marketing, as an example. So for me, it is important for us to continue seeing that, so inspiring others to say, you can be in tech, as an example. You can be Prasad, you can be head of, sales CEO in tech company as a woman. It's possible. You are capable. Just continue doing that, because the power of role modeling, it is even seen on how women choose careers. So I do a lot of work with business schools and other schools. Yes, we do see and now a large number of women taking STEM route, right? But before, you find that even early on, if you want to succeed in an organization, if you want to be at the top ESCOs, then you have to follow a route that is HR, because in most cases, what we'll see is HR executives. And yes, if you're ambitious, you want to be HR executive, you want to be an executive, the chances are you're a woman and you say, okay, I want to be HR. But now we do have women who are CEOs, and then you see that actually I can be a CEO. What's preventing me from being a CEO?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
So I think that power of role modeling is important.
yeah. So it is said like those who dream the most do the most. So I mean, nothing stops you like thinking of it. And then I mean, we try to strike that balance. And on the lighter note, you can see like we have 50-50%. We have two women from
Yeah.
automation age on this call. So Archie heading the
Yes, are
entire
transformed. Well done.
Ex- exactly,
Yeah.
like yeah, so that's on the lighter note. So yeah. So when do you think like about the legacy you want to leave? What kind of the legacy across the banking or academia and the leadership? And what impact do you hope to create? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, this one is very close to my heart because I believe in opening doors for others. So the legacy that I want to leave, especially in banking, I want to be remembered not as a COO, as an example, who only automated and forgot the human side to the work that I'm doing, right? And also in academia, I want to be, I lecture now leaders, right? So I want to be remembered as that one lecturer who enabled other leaders to lead with empathy, to lead with curiosity, to be a change agent. And I also want my mentees to thrive because of the conversations that we had, because of the advices that I've shared. And I want my community and my society to look at me and be inspired because I walked the path and I won, or I made it possible for a youngster who never believed in themselves. So that's how I would love to be remembered, Prasad.
That's so nice of you. So, what kind of the recommendation or guidance you will give it to like the young kids who are like aspiring to be like the leader? And then, as you rightly said, reaching out to the CEO level. I mean, what stops like reaching out to the CEO level or founding the company and become a CEO kind of it? So those kind of like the aspirant, like what kind of the guidance you would give?
Yeah, so it's going to sound very cliche, but I will say not even the sky is the limit. If you want to achieve something, you need to have a mindset of a winner. You look around the world, there's so much happening. There's so much disinformation. There's so much negativity that is being spread around the world. And I think negativity spread very fast. We all know that. But you need to train yourself to think positively. Because if you have a positive mindset, the chances are your actions will follow where your mind is. You will come up with actions that are positive, actions that are going to move you forward. And then when you are faced with obstacles or there are barriers to succeed, you will think positively and say, you know what? I am not going to wait because there's one small hurdle or there's one small obstacle. You are going to stay true to your course and you're going to try to focus on the dream or the goal that you have set yourself up to. You will not be easily turned off by whatever that you see happening around you. So I think it's very important that we really equip ourselves with a positive mindset and a resilience mindset that it's possible, it can be done. So don't lose hope very quickly. And again, it's possible. People are doing it out there. I'm not even a CEO yet, right? But if I want to be a CEO, it starts with me believing that I can be a CEO. Then everything else that I do will revolve around that mindset that it's possible, it can be done. Because it's easy to make an excuse as to why you're not achieving what you're not achieving. There's so many things, reasons that you can put forward. But then the minute you say, you know what, I am not a loser. Even if it's not happening now, I'll keep at it until I achieve it. So I do believe that it's possible, but it does not necessarily mean that the world is going to be forgiving, the world is going to be easy, but only people who are strong and have a positive mindset will conquer and will continue to win.
And I think it's a very good, valid couple of statement which I like. So like talking about like the positivity or like possibility. So like even impossible says I am possible. And then you made another statement which is saying like I mean I have not lost till I win the battle. So which is really good. So till I win, the battle is not lost. So I will not give up. So I mean that kind of the mindset is really important. Like I mean, I think very valid statement. So I really like it. So it was really great conversation with you. And I mean, I really appreciate like your time. You have taken out like the time out of your busy schedule, and the conversations are like the interesting, and I'm sure like we can go on for hours. So I mean, we'll keep in touch with you definitely, and I think I will take a privilege of reaching out to you, seek your guidance on the personal level whenever required. So
Thank you so much for having me. It's quite a privilege.